Hello and welcome everyone to Love is Love is Love. And tonight is our celebration of Valentine's Day and all kinds of things related to love, to our families, to our friends, to all of the many people out there that we love in many different ways. Tonight, I was able to convince a number of my friends and a number of people here in the State College area, as well as some from New York, some from Seattle, Washington, and from California, who'll be joining us and sharing some of their favorite works too. Poems, short stories. We'll get a little bit of Poe in there at one point because everybody needs friends the way Poe has friends. But to start us off, Joanne Smith.
Perhaps the world ends here by Joy Harjo. The world begins at a kitchen table. No matter what, we must eat to live. The gifts of earth are brought and prepared, set on the table. So it has been since creation, and it will go on. We chase chickens or dogs away from it. Babies teed at the corners, and they scrape their knees under it. It is here that children are given instructions on what it means to be human. We make men at it. We make women at it. At this table, we gossip, recall enemies, and the ghosts of lovers. Our dreams drink coffee with us as they put their arms around our children. They laugh with us at our poor falling down selves, and as we put ourselves back together, once again at the table. This table has been a house in the rain, an umbrella in the sun. Wars have begun and ended at this table. It's a place to hide in the shadow of terror, a place to celebrate the terrible victory. We have given birth on this table and have prepared our parents for burial here. At this table, we sing with joy, with sorrow. We pray of suffering and remorse. We give thanks. Perhaps the world will end at the kitchen table while we are laughing and crying, eating of the last sweet bite. The end.
Thank you. And Joanne is coming to us from Jersey City, New Jersey, and we'll get to hear more from her in a little bit. Up next, coming from Seattle, Washington, is Dr. Alex Hamling.
Hello, I'm reading The Quiet World by Jeffrey McDaniel. It comes from his collection in The Forgiveness Parade. In an effort to get people to look into each other's eyes more, and also to appease the mutes, the government has decided to allot each person exactly 167 words per day. When the phone rings, I put it to my ear without saying hello. In the restaurant, I point at chicken noodle soup. I'm adjusting well to the new way. Late at night, I call my long-distance lover, and I proudly say, I only used 59 words today. I saved the rest for you. When she doesn't respond, I know she's used up all her words. So I slowly whisper, I love you, 32 and a third times. After that, we just sit on the line and listen to each other breathe. Doing a second poem called Wind Chime by Tony Hoagland. This is a reprint from his collection, What Narcissism Means to Me. She goes out to hang the wind chime in her night tie with her work boots. It's 6:30 in the morning, and she's standing on the plastic ice chest, tiptoe to reach that crossbeam of the porch. Wind chime in her left hand, hammer in her right, nail gripped tight between her teeth. But nothing happens next because she's trying to figure out how to switch number 1 with number 3. She must have been standing in the kitchen, coffee in her hand, asleep, when she heard it. The wind blowing through that sound, the wind chime wasn't making because it wasn't there. No one, including me, especially anymore, believes till death do us part. But I can see that I would miss in leaving the way her ankles go into the work boots as she stands upon the ice chest. the problem scrunched into her forehead, the little kissable mouth with the nail in it. Thank you.
And thank you, Alex. Have a lovely Valentine's Day. It's nice and early. I guess if it's 7:30 here, it's 4:30 there. You have lots of the evening to go. Up next from State College, right here with us, well, not right here in my room, is Tiara Williams. And let's bring her into the studio. Tiara, yay!
Hi. Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone, and happy Black Love Day. First, I'll be reading Come and Be My Baby by Maya Angelou. The highway is full of big cars, going nowhere fast, and folks is smoking anything that'll burn. Some people wrap their lives around cocktail glass, and you sit wondering, where you gonna turn? I got it. Come and be my baby. Some prophets say the world is going to end tomorrow, but others say they've got a week or two. The paper is full of every kind of blooming horror, and you sit wondering, what are you going to do? I got it. Come and be my baby. Love Is by Nikki Giovanni. Some people forget that love is tucking you in and kissing you goodnight. No matter how young or old you are, some people don't remember that love is listening and laughing and asking questions, no matter what your age. Few recognize that love is commitment, responsibility, no fun at all, unless love is you and me. Thank you.
Thank you. So hopefully I can talk. She doesn't know this part. I can talk her into coming back here in a few minutes, but I'll be back with you next. And we have Josephine Perrone coming into us next. As soon as I find Josephine, because everybody just moved on my screen. Up there she is. Yay.
Hi. Hello, everybody. Hi. About a year and a half ago, some of my young friends got married, and they asked several of us, friends and family, to read excerpts from this piece I'm going to read for you, a little bit of it. I was honored to be one of the people who were asked. These will be excerpts from Catalog of Unabashed Gratitude by Ross Gay. Friends, will you bear with me today? For I have awakened from a dream in which a robin made with its shabby wings a kind of veil behind which it shimmied and stomped something from the south of Spain, its breast aflare, looking me dead in the eye from the earth from the branch that grew into my window, coochie-cooing my chin, the bird shuffling its little talons left then right, while the leaves bristled against the plaster wall, two of them drifting against onto my blanket, while the bird opened and closed its wings like a matador giving up murder, jutting its beak, turning a circle, and flashing again the ruddy horn blast of its breast, by which I knew upon waking it was telling me in no uncertain terms to bellow forth the tubas and sousaphones, the whole rusty brass band of gratitude, not quite down dormant in my belly. And so it said in a human voice, bellow forth. And who among us could ignore such odd and precise counsel? And thank you, too. And thanks for the corduroy couch I have put you on. Put your feet up. Here's a light blanket, a pillow, my dear, for I can feel this is going to be long. I cannot stop my gratitude, which includes, dear reader, you for staying here with me, for moving your lips just so as I speak. Here is a cup of tea. I have spooned honey into it. And thank you, the tiny bee's shadow, pursuing these words as I write them, and the way my love talks quietly when in the hive, so quietly, in fact, you cannot hear her, but only notice barely her lips moving in conversation. Thank you, that which does not scare her in me, but makes her reach my way. Thank you, the love she is, which hurts sometimes, and the time she misremembered elephants in one of my poems, which, oh, here they come, garlanded with morning glory and wisteria blooms, trombones all the way down to the river. Thank you, the quiet in which the river bends around the elephant's solemn trunk, polishing stones, floating on its gentle back, the flock of geese flying overhead. And you, again, you, for the true kindness it has been for you to remain awake with me like this, nodding time to time, and making that noise which I take to mean yes, or I understand, or please go on, but not too long, or why are you spitting so much, or easy, tiger, hands to yourself. I am excitable, and I'm sorry. I am grateful. I just want us to be friends now, forever. Take this bowl of blackberries from the garden. The sun has made them warm. I picked them just for you. I promise I will try to stay on my side of the couch. And you, again, you, hanging tight, dear friend. I know I can be long-winded sometimes. I want so badly to rub the sponge of gratitude over every last thing, including you, which, yes, awkward, the suds in your ear and armpit, the little sparkling gems slipping into your eye. Soon it will be over. Which is precisely what the child in my dream said, holding my hand, pointing at the roiling sea and the sky hurtling our way like so many buffalo, who said, it's much worse than we think, and sooner. To whom I said, no duh, child in my dreams. What do you think this singing and shuddering is? This screaming and reaching and dancing and crying is, other than loving what every second goes away? Goodbye, I mean to say. And thank you every day. I thank you. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Thank you, Josephine. Yay. Up next are Charles and Joe Dumas, who have two different pieces I believe they'll be sharing with us. I'm also hoping, and hopefully they're listening to me right now as I bring them in. I can just bring them in. I can talk to them. Hi.
Hey. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Black Love Day.
Yes, and I hope that you have an event coming up, a few events coming up in the next week and so. So I'm hoping you'll promote those and talk about those as well. So I'm going to give you the camera.
So can we do our pieces first so that get the nervousness out?
Yes, you may.
Okay, we're doing two pieces from Bell Hooks, All About Love, New Visions, and from Amanda Gorman, The Hill We Climb. When I was a child, it was clear to me that life was not worth living if we did not know love. I wish I could testify that I came to this awareness because of the love I felt in my life. But it was love's absence that let me know how much love mattered. I was my father's first daughter. In the moment of my birth, I was looked upon with loving kindness, cherished, and made to feel wanted on this earth and in my home. To this day, I cannot remember when that feeling of being loved left me. I know that one day I was no longer precious. Those who had initially loved me turned away. The absence of their recognition and regard pierced my heart and left me with a feeling of brokenheartedness so profound I was spellbound. Grief and sadness overwhelmed me. I did not know what I had done wrong, and nothing I tried made it right. No other connection healed the hurt of that first abandonment, that first banishment from love's paradise. For years, I lived my life suspended, trapped by the past, unable to move into the future. Like every wounded child, I just wanted to turn back time and be in that paradise again, in that moment of remembered rapture where I felt loved, where I felt a sense of belonging. We can never go back. I know that now. We can go forward. We can find the love our hearts long for, but not until we let go grief about the love lost long ago. When we were little and had no voice to speak the heart's longing. All the years of my life, I thought I was searching for love. I found retrospectively to be years where I was simply trying to recover what had been lost, to return to the first home, to get back the rapture of first love. I was not really ready to love or be loved in the present. I was still mourning, clinging to the broken heart of girlhood, to broken connections. When that mourning ceased, I was able to love again. I awakened from my trance state and was stunned to find the world I was living in, the world of the present, was no longer a world open to love. And I noticed that all around me, I heard testimony that lovelessness had become the order of the day. I feel our nation's turning away from love as intensely as I felt love's abandonment in my girlhood. Turning away, we risk moving into a wilderness of spirits so intense we may never find our way home again. I write of love to bear witness both to the danger in this movement and to call for a return to love, redeemed and restored. Love returns us to the promise of everlasting life. When we love, we can let our hearts speak.
Those is the preface. This is the last two paragraphs of the same book. When I was a young girl, I would lie in my attic bed and talk endlessly with divine spirit about the nature of love. Then I did not imagine I would ever have the courage to speak about love without the solitary covering of secrecy or night. Like Jacob wandering alone by the stream in the stillness of my pitch dark room, I grapple with the physics of love, seeking to understand love's mystery. That grappling continued until my awareness intensified and a new vision of love came to me. Now I recognize that I was engaged from then until now in a disciplined spiritual practice, opening the heart. It led me to become a devout seeker on love's path, to talk with angels face to face, unafraid. Understanding all the ways fear stands in the way of our knowing love challenges us. Fearful that believing in love's truths and letting them guide our lives will lead to further betrayal, we hold back from love when our hearts are full of longing. Being loving does not mean we will not be betrayed. Love helps us face betrayal without losing heart, and it renews our spirit so that we can love again. No matter how hard or terrible our lot in life, to choose against lovelessness, to choose love, we can listen to the voices of hope that speak to us, that speak to our hearts, the voices of angels. When angels speak of love, they tell us it is only by losing that we enter into an earthly paradise. They tell us paradise is our home and love our true destiny.
Amanda Gorman, The Hill We Climb, January 20th, 2021. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light? Is this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast, and we've learned that quiet isn't always peace, and the norms and notions of what just isn't always justice. And yet the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished.
We, the successors of a country and a time where a skinny Black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother, can dream of becoming president only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but this doesn't mean we're striving to form, that we're not striving to form a perfect union that is perfect. We are striving to forge our union with purpose.
To compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man, and so lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must first put our differences aside.
We lay down our arms so that we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek to harm no one in harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true, that even as we grieved, we grew, that even as we hurt, we hoped, that even as we tired, we tried, that we'll forever be tied together, victorious, not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division.
Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. If we're to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in all the bridges we've made. That is the promised glade, the hill we climb, if only we dare it. Because being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it.
We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, would destroy our country if it meant delay in democracy, and this effort very nearly succeeded. But while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can inevitably be permanently defeated.
In this truth, in this faith we trust. For while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us.
This is the era of our just redemption. We feared it at its inception. We did not feel prepared to be heirs of such a terrifying hour, but within it we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves.
So while once we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us?
We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be. A country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free.
We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation, because we know our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. Our blunders become burdens. But one thing is certain, if we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright.
So let us leave behind a country better than the one we were left. With every breath from our bronze-pounded chest, we will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one.
We will rise from the gold-limbed hills of the West. We will rise from the wind-swept Northwest, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. We will rise from the sun-baked South.
We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover. In every known nook of our nation, in every corner called our country, our people, diverse and dutiful, will emerge battered but beautiful.
When the day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it. For where there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it.
For there is always light, if only we are brave enough to be it.
Yay. So tell us about, you've got events coming up. Talk to us.
We got a whole bunch of events. One of them is probably the highest one right now in terms of what we're working on is God's Trombone. It is a benefit performance with Essence of Joy and a bunch of pastors and poets from here. It is a benefit for the Pennsylvania Innocent.
I'm not sure if I lost him. Is it working on your end?
It's Friday. Can you hear us?
Okay.
I can now, yes.
Okay, Friday the 25th at the Church of the Good Shepherd on 867 Grayswoods Boulevard. And we hope everyone will join us. There are no tickets. It's free admission, but there will be donations gratefully accepted for the Pennsylvania Innocence Project, which provides support and sustenance to wrongly incarcerated folks who've been freed and are in need.
And the following day, Tierra's got part of this because of the Divine Nine is going to be. There's a show at the State Theater. It is a rebroadcast of
Fire Shut Up in My Bones, an opera that Terence Blanchard did based on the life and the autobiography of Charles Blow. Fire Shut Up in My Bones. It's at 12:55 in the afternoon at the State Theater. beautiful opera done by the Metropolitan
It is
Opera.
it is the first opera ever produced by the Met that was written by an African American. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can find information out on the statetheater.org on
Right.
their website. I know that we have published and keep rebroadcasting the info for God's Trombones on our website as well.
Thank you.
So you
Thank
can check those places out if you can't remember right now, because if you're like me, you need to go check them out in another
Yeah.
day. Like, wait, what time and day? So thanks for joining us, and make sure you catch these events coming up.
Right.
Up next,
All right. Take care.
happy
God bless.
Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Black
Mwah,
Love.
mwah, mwah.
Ah, yay! Up next is Stephanie Gates. Soon as I find her on my little bar here, did she disappear on me? No, there she is. Yay!
I'm
It's
here.
over.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. I found this on my Instagram feed the other day, and I really liked it. It's called Mountain Dew Commercial Disguised as a Love Poem by Matthew Oltzman. So here's what I've got. The reasons why our marriage might work. Because you wear pink, but write poems about bullets and gravestones. Because you yell at your keys when you lose them and laugh loudly at your own jokes. Because you can hold a pistol, gut a pig, because you memorize songs, even commercials, from 30 years back and sing them while vacuuming. You have soft hands. Because when we moved, the contents of what you packed were written inside the boxes. Because you think swans are overrated and kind of stupid. Because you drove me to the train station. You drove me to Minneapolis. You drove me to Providence. Because you underline everything you read and circle the things you think are important and put stars next to the things you think I should think are important. And you write notes in the margins about all the people you're mad at, and my name almost never appears there. Because you made that pork recipe you found in the Frida Kahlo cookbook. Because when you read that essay about Rilke, you underline the whole thing except the part where Rilke says love means to deny the self and to be consumed in flames. Because when the lights are off, the curtains are drawn, and an additional sheet is nailed over the windows, you still believe someone outside can see you. And one day, 5 summers ago, when you couldn't put gas in your car, when your fridge was so empty, not even leftovers or condiments, there was a single 20-ounce bottle of Mountain Dew, which you paid for with your last damn dime because you once overheard me say that I liked it. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you. So I'm going to bring Tiara in next. And Tara, before you start, can I ask you to just talk about Black Love Day?
Yes. So Black Love Day was founded in 1993 by A.O. Kendi. And it's a celebration as it could be an alternative, but I would say it's also as in addition to Valentine's Day. So for Black Love Day, you have 5 major tenets. You have to have love for the creator, love for yourself, love for your family, love for the Black community, and love for your race. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to have increase love instead of hate to decrease the violence. You're supposed to learn about different things within the Black community, and you're supposed to spread the love in certain ways. So I think it's all around the same thing. The colors are purple and black, as well as the West African Adinkra symbol, Akoma, and the saying Nia Akoma, which means be patient, get a heart, is also used. So yeah, that's Black Love Day.
Right. And I loved one of the articles that I read yesterday was, one of the big things was just to share it with family,
Yes.
to share that love and to share those unities with family. And I think that's special for all of us, for everybody.
And you're supposed to recommit yourself to the Nguzo Saba, which are the 7 principles from Kwanzaa. So it all kind of like ties back in. So yeah, I think it's great.
Wonderful. Thank you for reading this next poem for me. I think it's important that when we talk about love we have for our, just our culture as well as our friends and our families and our romantic love. So it's all yours. Thanks.
This is For My People by Margaret Walker. For my people everywhere singing their slave songs repeatedly, their dirges and their ditties and their blues and jubilees, praying their prayers nightly to an unknown God, bending their knee humbly to an unseen power. For my people lending their strength to the years, to the gone years, and to the now years and the maybe years. Washing, ironing, cooking, scrubbing, sewing, mending, hoeing, plowing, digging, planting, pruning, platching, and dragging along, never gaining, never reaping, never knowing, and never understanding. For my playmates in the clay and the dust and sand of Alabama, backyards playing, baptizing, and preaching, and the doctor in jail, and soldier in school, and mama in cooking, and playhouse and concert, and the store and hair, and Miss Chumby in the company. For the cramped, bewildered years we went to school to learn, to know the reasons why, and the answers to, and the people who, and the places where, and the days when in. Memory of the bitter hours when we discovered we were Black and poor and small and different, and nobody cared, and nobody wondered, and nobody understood. For the boys and girls who grew up in spite of these things to be a man and woman, and to laugh and dance and sing and play and drink their wine and religion and success, to marry their playmates and bear children and then die of consumption of anemia and lynching. For my people, thronging 47th Street in Chicago and Lenox, New York and Rampart Street and New Orleans, lost, disheartened, disposed, and happy people filling the carabets and taverns and other people's pockets and needing bread and shoes and milk and land and money and something all our own. For my people, walking blindly, spreading joy, losing time, being lazy, sleeping when hungry, shouting when burdened, drinking when hopeless, tied and shackled and tangled among ourselves and the unseen creatures who tower over us ominously and laugh. My people, blundering and groping and floundering in the darkness of churches and schools and clubs and societies, associations and councils and committees and conventions, distressed and disturbed and deceived and devoured and money hungry and glory craving leeches, preyed on by facile force of state and fad and novelty, by false prophet and holy believer. For my people standing, staring, trying to fashion a better way from confusion, from hypocrisy, from misunderstanding, trying to fashion a world that will hold all people, all the faces, all the Adams and Eves in their countless generations. Let a new earth rise. Let another world be born. Let a bloody peace be written in the sky. Let a second generation full of courage issue forth. Let a people loving freedom come to growth. Let a beauty full of healing and strength, a final clenching be the pulsing in our spirits and our blood. Let the marital songs be written. Let the dirges disappear. Let the race of men now rise and take control. Thank you.
Thank you. I love that poem, and I'm just so happy we were able to include it tonight. So you have an event that's coming up with the film, though, correct? Are you sponsoring that, or
with the film? So I will be with I will be doing God's Trombones with Charles Dumas. So I'm excited about that, and I will be I'm correlating. I'm not going to say choreographing. I'm correlating a group of the Divine Nine Steppers for the event happening at the State Theater. We want to represent our organizations. These organizations were founded during a time where not only Black people didn't have their rights, but they weren't being let into other organizations. So all of our organizations were usually, most of them were founded in the early 1920s or before. And so I'm representing Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, and we'll have Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, and hopefully Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated being represented there. So I'm very excited for that.
Great. So I'll let you go feed your son. Like, yes,
Yay.
you'd like to eat, right? And happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Up next is Mr. Brown, who I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you play Winnie the Pooh for me when we did the Winnie the Pooh tour?
I did not.
Was it Fred?
Yes, probably.
So
Probably.
later tonight, I'm going to end the broadcast with a little bit of Winnie the Pooh. But it just reminded me, I was like, wait, were you my Pooh? Like, I won't say how many, my husband's laughing now, how many thousands of years ago. Okay.
But the thing I'm reading, the Velveteen Rabbit, I was in that in a children's play in high school.
And yes, you have one of my favorite passages of all times.
Yes.
You know, and I'm just going to let you go. So.
Well, before we do that, I hope you'll indulge me, because one of my favorite love songs of all time was written by a guy named David Gates. And David Gates was the lead singer of Bread. They were very popular in the late 60s and early and mid 70s. And then he went out.
Much later. Much later.
Yeah, we weren't that old. But he went out on his own. And I believe this is from his first album. And from the first time I heard this song, I thought, those may be the most beautiful love lyrics I've ever heard.
Well,
So
I'm
going to share
going
them
to
with
the
you.
screen, and it's all yours.
All right. This is a song called Someday. Love me. Forget about tomorrow now and love me. There's time enough to borrow from another day. So just for now, let's touch and do the things that drive my cares away. Hold me. Forget the world outside tonight and hold me. And by the flickering candlelight, our love will glow. And then we'll share the words and feelings no one else will ever know. We should never end. Hand in hand, we'll walk the night forever. But if it can't be so, there's one more thing I need before I go. Just kiss me and tell me when I'm gone how much you miss me. Forget the lonely in between, and then someday we'll open up our eyes and see the world we thought so far away. Someday. Someday. Now let's get to the Velveteen Rabbit by Margaret Williams. Let's see. This will be better. There was once a Velveteen Rabbit, and in the beginning he was really splendid. He was fat and bunchy, as rabbits should be, and his coat was spotted brown and white. He had real thread whiskers, and his ears were lined with pink sateen. On Christmas morning, when he sat wedged in the top of the boy's stocking with a sprig of holly between his paws, the effect was charming. There were other things in the stocking, nuts and oranges and a toy engine and chocolate almonds and a clockwork mouse. But the rabbit was quite the best of all. For at least 2 hours, the boy loved him. And then aunts and uncles came to dinner, and there was a great rustling of tissue paper and unwrapped parcels. And in the excitement of looking at all the new presents, the Velveteen Rabbit was forgotten. For a long time, he lived in the toy cupboard in the nursery floor, and no one thought very much about him. He was naturally shy, and being only made of velveteen, the more expensive toys quite snubbed him. The mechanical toys were very superior and looked down upon everyone else. They were full of modern ideas and pretended they were real. The model boat, who had lived through 2 seasons and lost most of his paint, caught the tone from them and never missed an opportunity of referring to his rigging in some technical terms. The rabbit could not claim to be a model of anything, for he didn't even know real rabbits existed. He thought they were all stuffed with sawdust like himself, and he understood that the sawdust was quite out of date and should never be mentioned in modern circles. Even Timothy, the jointed wooden lion, was made by the disabled soldiers and should have been broader views, put on airs, and pretended he was connected with the government. Between them all, the poor little rabbit was made to feel himself very insignificant and commonplace, and the only person who was kind to him at all was the skin horse. The skin horse had lived longer in the nursery than any of the others. He was so old that his brown coat was bald in patches and showed the seams underneath, and most of the hairs in his tail had been pulled out to string beads and necklaces. He was wise, for he had seen a long succession of mechanical toys arrive to boast and swagger, and then by and by break their mainsprings and pass away. And he knew that they were only toys. They would never turn into anything else. For nursery magic is very strange and wonderful, and only those playthings that are old and wise and experienced, like the skin horse, understood about all of it. "What is real?" asked the rabbit one day when they were lying side by side near the nursery fender before Nana could come to tidy up the room. "Does it mean having things that buzz inside you and have stick-out handles?" "Real isn't how you're made," said the skin horse. "It's a thing that happens to you. When a child loves you for a very long time, not just to play with, but really loves you, then you become real." "Does it hurt?" asked the rabbit. "Sometimes," said the skin horse, for he was always truthful. "When you are real, you don't mind being hurt." "Does it happen all at once, like being held up or hit by hit?" "It doesn't happen all at once," said the skin horse. "You become. It takes a long time. That's why it doesn't happen often to people who break easily or have sharp edges or have to be carefully kept. Generally, by the time you're real, most of your hair has been loved off and your eyes drop out and you get loose in the joints and very shabby. But these things don't matter at all, because once you are real, you can't be ugly, except to the people who don't understand. Love you all. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you. He's like, you can't remove yourself now. I know I have to do it. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
I'm going to bring back in Joanne Smith.
Okay, I'm going to read I Want to Be Yours by John Cooper Clarke. I want to be your vacuum cleaner, breathing in your dust. I want to be your Ford Cortina. I will never rust. If you like your coffee hot, let me be your coffee pot. You call the shots. I want to be yours. I want to be your raincoat for those frequent rainy days. I want to be your dreamboat when you want to sail away. Oh, let me be your teddy bear. Take me with you anywhere. I don't care. I want to be yours. I want to be your electric meter. I will not run out. I want to be the electric heater you'll get cold without. I want to be your setting lotion. Hold your hair in deep devotion. Deep as the deep Atlantic Ocean. That's how deep is my devotion. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. And up next is Gail Alberini. Hello.
Hi. When I heard the theme was love, I immediately thought of this poem from Robert Hayden about parental love and sacrifice, and it just wounds me how we do not notice when we are children. Called Those Winter Sundays by Robert Hayden. Sundays, too, my father got up early and put his clothes on in the blue, black, cold. Then with cracked hands that ached from labor in the weekday weather made banked fires blaze. No one ever thanked him. I'd wake and hear the cold splintering, breaking. When the rooms were warm, he'd call, and slowly I would rise and dress, fearing the chronic angers of that home, speaking indifferently to him who had driven out the cold and polished my good shoes as well. What did I know? What did I know of love's austere and lonely offices? Thank you very much.
And up next is Jim Colbert.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. So I'm going to read a short one from Sarah Teasdale. And I first discovered the work of Sarah Teasdale in 1978 in high school in a book called The Voice That Is Great Within Us. And for much of my adult life, literally all of her books were out of print. And about 22 years ago, my lovely wife got me 2 collections of Sarah Teasdale. One was from 1937, I think. This was from 1957. Thankfully, some of her work is in print now, but I'm going to read I Am Not Yours. I am not yours, not lost in you, not lost, although I long to be, lost as a candle lit at noon, lost as a snowflake in the sea. You love me, and I find you still a spirit beautiful and bright. Yet I am I who long to be lost as a light is lost in light. Oh, plunge me deep in love, put out my senses, leave me deaf and blind, swept by the tempest of your love, a taper in a rushing wind. Thank you.
All right, stay there for a sec. I'm
All
just
right.
going to bring Laura in. Laura, yay!
Hello.
So, how's the weather in California?
Pretty nice. It's a warm day. There's still some sun that's helping to light me.
Great. It's like 20 degrees here. Okay. Happy Valentine's Day. Gonna let you go.
Cold is overrated. I learned that as soon as I moved out here. All right, the first poem I'm going to do E. E. Cummings, I Carry Your Heart With Me. I carry your heart with me. I carry it in my heart. I'm never without it. Anywhere I go, you go, my dear. And wherever it is done, by only me is your doing, my darling. I fear no fate, for you are my fate, my sweet. I want no world, for beautiful you are, my world, my true, and it's you are whatever a moon has always meant, and whatever a sun will always sing is you. Here's the deepest secret nobody knows. Here's the root in the bud of the bud, and the sky of a tree called life, which grows higher than soul can hope or mind can hide. And this is the wonder that keeps the stars apart. I carry your heart. I carry it in my heart. All right. And now the next poem I'm going to do is called Bar Napkin Sonnet number 11 by Moira Egan. Things happen when you drink too much mezcal. One night, with not enough food in my belly, he kept on buying. I'm a girl who'll fall damn near in love with gratitude, and, well, he was hot and generous, so the least I could do was let him kiss me. Hard and soft, any way you want it, beast and beauty, lime and salt, sweet Bacchus's pards. When his friend showed up, I felt so warm and generous. I let him kiss me, too. His buddy asked me if it was the worm inside me that made me do the things I do. I wasn't sure which worm he meant. The one I ate? The one that eats me alone. Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day. Up next is Paul Marcinkiewicz. Paul, come join us.
Hello. Thank you, Cynthia. So I will be reading 2 poems by the author Robert Burns, the first of which is To a Kiss. Humid seal of soft affections, tenderest pledge of future bliss, dearest tie of young connections, love first snowdrop virgin kiss. Speaking silence, dumb confession, passion's birth and infant's play, dove-like fondness, chaste concession, glowing dawn of brighter day. Souring joy, adie's last action. Lingering lips, no more to join. What words can ever speak affection, thrilling and sincere as thine? The second poem is My Love is Like a Red, Red Rose. Oh, my love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. Oh, my love is like the melody that's sweetly played in tune. So fair art thou, my bonny lass, so deep in love am I. And I will love thee still, my dear, till all the seas gang dry. Till all the seas gang dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun. And I will love thee still, my dear, while the sands of life shall run. And fare thee well, my only love, and fare thee well a while. And I will come again, my love, though it were 10,000 mile. Thank you, and happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
You have a friend.
My Valentine's.
A free Valentine. They're the best.
Up next, also from New Jersey, are you going to get down? Is Ariane Ryan. Let me bring Ariane in. Yay!
Hello.
Thanks for joining us.
Happy to be here. So the first poem I'll be reading is Sonnet 116 by William Shakespeare. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love which alters when an alteration finds, or bends with the rumor to remove. Oh no, it is an ever-fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark, whose worth is unknown, although its height be taken. Love is not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks within its bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with its brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. If this be error upon me proved, I never writ, nor man ever loved. And the second poem is from Walt Whitman's I Sing the Body Electric. This is the female form. A divine nimbus exhales from it from head to foot. It attracts me with fierce, undeniable attraction. I am drawn by its breath as if I were no more than a helpless vapor. All falls aside but myself and it. Books, art, religion, time, the visible and solid earth, the atmosphere and the clouds, and what was expected of heaven or feared of hell, are now consumed. Mad filaments, governable shoots play out of it, the response likewise ungovernable. Hair, bosom, hips, bend of legs, negligent falling hands, all diffused, mine too diffused. Ebb stung by the flow, and flow stung by the ebb. Love. Limitless jets of love, an enormous quivering jelly of love, white blow and delirious juice. Bridegroom, night of love, working surely and softly into the prostrate drawn, undulating unto the willing and yielding day, lost in the cleave of clasping and sweet-fleshed day. This is the nucleus. After the child is born of woman, man is born of woman. This is the bath of birth. This is the merge of small and large, and the outlet again. Be not ashamed, women. Your privilege encloses the rest, and is the exit of the rest. You are the gates of the body, and you are the gates of the soul. The female contains all qualities and tempers them. She is in her place and moves with perfect balance. She is all things duly veiled. She is both passive and active. She is to conceive daughters as well as sons, and sons as well as daughters. As I see my soul reflected in nature, as I see through a mist, one with inexpressible completeness and beauty, see the bent head and arms folded over the breast, the female I see. Thank you, and happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you. We'll see you soon. And Joanne Smith, I'm going to bring back in. Yay.
Thank you. I'm going to read Chance Meeting by Susan Brown. I know him, that man walking toward me up the crowded street of the city. I have lived with him 7 years now. I know his fast stride, his windy wheat field hair, his hands thrust deep in his jacket pockets, hands that have known my body, touched its softest part, caused its quick shudders, slow releasings. I have seen his face above my face, his mouth smiling, moaning, his eyes closed and opened. I have studied his eyes, the brown turning gold, the centers. I've silently watched him lying beside me in the early morning. I know his loneliness, like mine, human and sad, but different too. His private pain and pleasure I can never enter. Even as he comes closer, past trees and cars, trash and flowers, steam rising from the manhole covers, gutters running with rain, he lifts his head. He sees me. We are strangers again. And a rending music of desire, loss. I don't know him. It courses through me. And we kiss and say, "It's good to see you," as if we hadn't seen each other in years, when it was just a few hours ago. And we are shy then, not knowing what to say next. Thank you very much, and very happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you. Yay.
I think this one will actually bookend what Joanne just read nicely. This is an Adrienne Rich piece from 21 Love Poems, which is probably my favorite small collection of her work. This is number 18. Rain on the West Side Highway, red light at Riverside. The more I love, the more I think two people together is a miracle. You're telling the story of your life. For once, a tremor breaks the surface of your words. The story of our lives become our lives. Now you're in fugue across what some, I'm sure, Victorian poet called the salt and strangling sea. These are the words that come to mind. I feel estrangement, yes, as I've felt drawn, pushing towards daybreak. Something, a cleft of light. Close between grief and anger, a space opens where I am Adrienne alone and growing colder. And just for the record, a lot of the poems in 21 Love Poems are much happier than that. And I'm going to read one. This one sometimes makes me cry. I don't mind admitting that. This is from my wife. It's called Coney Island by Jim Colbert. It's me. We had hot dogs at our first date. Hot dogs dressed in ketchup, mustard, chili, and onions. 20 years after we met, we drank coffee from white porcelain cups at a booth resplendent with orange and lime green plastics. The windows were laced with condensation, cold November glass pressed against a roller grill, where hot dogs and sausages ran as if on a treadmill. I revisit that moment every year when, on Valentine's Day, we go to Mr. Hot Dog and Mrs. Suds for our dinner. Salmon, lobster, steak, pad thai, those are for other times. Birthdays and raises and sometimes just because. But hot dogs are different, special, better, because they remind me of that first kiss by a small red Toyota parked on Locust Street when everything changed. Thank you. Love you, Cynthia. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Now I'm going to kick you out of that seat. And because one of the boys had to be on screen today, say hello. There's the other one, the bad one. I'm going to end out this evening with Lee Young Lee's The Gift. And I would like to thank all of my friends and colleagues for the gifts and the wonderful, beautiful voices and words that they brought to us today, and wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day. The Gift by Lee Young Lee. To pull the metal splinter from my palm, my father recited a story in a low voice. I watched his lovely face and not the blade. Before the story ended, he'd removed the iron sliver I thought I'd die from. I can't remember the tale, but hear his voice still, a well of dark water, a prayer. And I recall his hands, 2 measures of tenderness he laid against my face, the flames of discipline he raised above my head. Had you entered that afternoon, you would have thought you saw a man planting something in a boy's palm, a silver tear, a tiny flame. Had you followed that boy, you would have arrived here, where I bend over my wife's right hand. Look how I shave her thumbnail down so she carefully feels no pain. Watch as I lift the splinter out. I was 7 when my father took my hand like this, and I did not hold that shard between my fingers and think, metal that will bury me, christen it little assassin, or going deep for my heart. And I did not lift up my wound and cry, death visited here. I did what a child does when he's given something to keep. I kissed my father. So, to all of our siblings, to all of our parents, those that are still with us and no longer with us in here, right? And to all of my friends, happy Valentine's Day. And to all of you, thank you for joining us today.